Hello and welcome to Talking Tent, a podcast about movies, TV, and all the content we can possibly consume.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Irma.
Today we are talking an absolutely absurd amount of television. We didn't record last week. Please listen to our October Excitometer for all the things coming out this month. So today we got a major catch up, a bunch of series and season finales. We got Reservation Dogs, Sex Education, Only Murders in the Building, Winning Time, Harley Quinn, and Ahsoka. We also got some premieres to catch up on. Loki came back, Gen V. We got The Golden Bachelor, Great British Bakeoff is back, Survivor is back, and a few movies. The Wes Anderson Roald Dahl shorts, Saw 10 and The Exorcist, some Hoffman horror hangout, and we caught up on an excellent indie thriller called How to Blow Up a Pipeline. We are going to blow through all of that fast. I say that every time, but I swear.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on a timer.
No blustering and bumbling. But first, darling, we will start how we always do with some marital bliss. So what have we been up to the past 2 weeks?
Well, we went to Vermont, which is why we didn't record last week. And that was beautiful, had so much fun. And now moving on to TV.
Whoa, so quick. Vermont was lovely this time of year. It was still quite nice out, actually. We got very lucky with a beautiful weekend. We did so much. We climbed a mountain.
Much.
We did apple picking. We went to some lovely dinners. What else? We giggled and yucked it up at our friend's house with a bunch of friends. It was delightful. That's it. We went to dinner when we came back in Brooklyn, and we hung out with Emily Blunt.
Oh, yeah. She was around. It was really nice. Yeah, she called us up. She was like, hey, you guys want to get dinner? Yeah, it was really nice. And then...
So she'll be on next week's episode, Emily Blunt.
Funny story, though. She was sitting behind Zach. So the two friends we were with were like, we could see her, but like we kept telling Zach like not to turn around. And then you got up purposely to go to the bathroom to like look at Emily Blunt as you walked past to make sure that, yes, that actually was her.
It was.
And as you went to the bathroom, I told the waiter it was your birthday so we could have an excuse to take a picture of Emily Blunt over your shoulder.
We got a nice picture of me and Emily celebrating my birthday.
I hope she does not listen to this because that's like stalker behavior.
I do not think she does, but if you do, Emily, come on the pod. We live pretty close. I hope you enjoyed your dinner.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed ours.
Yeah, it was
yummy.
Delicious. Got some duck, some sides. We got some pastas. The pastas were good.
Yeah, it was all really good.
Anyway, I think that's it though. This most recent weekend, we hermited. We didn't leave. We sat and we watched a bunch of stuff.
Well, it was also like rainy as usual.
It was rainy and crappy, but also we're so busy the next few weeks. I just needed a total do nothing weekend.
Yeah.
But let's get right to it. We are going to start with Reservation Dogs, the series finale, the end of an era, even though that era was only 3 years.
This is a beautiful show, I think.
It's an excellent show.
We haven't talked about this in a couple weeks, so I don't know if we want to talk about like a couple episodes or what, but the episode with Ethan Hawke I thought was amazing.
Yes. He comes in as Alora's father that, we never met, but we knew that she was like half white, I think. And so she researches who her actual father is and goes and finds him, and he has a whole different family. And it's your classic get to know your dad. He's trying the best he can. And it was really beautiful. Apparently Sterling Harjo, the showrunner, and Ethan Hawke have become friends. They're working together. And I believe Ethan Hawke actually reached out to him and said, I would like to be involved in this show.
Well, I could see why. Like, I think I was saying this to you earlier. It's very like Linklater-esque, I think. It's like I don't know, just like a very...
Yeah, it's intimate.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's touching. It's really an excellent show. My only critique is I wish we kind of watched it faster.
Yes, I agree.
So obviously we watch a lot of stuff. So coming in and out of this beautiful community and this worldview and these people that we almost never see represented. And I know this show was like huge for his community and their community. And I listened to an interview with him, and like, he's ending the show because it was just time and he wants to do other things. And it was a lot. He said it was like too much weight on his shoulders to be this important.
Yeah.
But like, it's a beautiful thing that we never see. And I feel like they've represented it so well. They're all so funny and like also touching at times.
It was also like very broad. Like, yes, it started out being about these 4 kids and them wanting to get to California to fulfill their friend Daniel's dream. But then they finished that in the 2nd season. So this 3rd season was kind of like, well, what are they going to do? And they really broadened out the characters and like really showcased like some of the other people in the community. And like, I think that was like the whole crux of this final season is like, who is your community? How important is that? Maybe like generational trauma, like repeating the past, like mistakes and whatever. Yeah, I just really thought it was beautiful. And like these kids were like trying to escape and go to California, but really like they had something so special at home and then realizing that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I was getting at. It was all amazing and beautiful. And then when they centered around the adults a lot more in the 3rd season, I was totally fine with that. The problem was that when this comes out once a week, and again, we watch so much stuff, there was a lot of characters, like a lot of different people came in and out. So it was hard to track who every single person was. And then, the series finale was based all around a funeral. And I wasn't even positive who the person was, even though it wasn't that important. It was more about the people that were alive celebrating the life and like just their customs, their funeral customs. But again, if we watched it like faster or binge just the last season, at least, I feel like I would have loved it even more. But regardless, if you haven't watched Reservation Dogs, you got a beautiful 3 seasons. It's easy to digest. It goes from hilarious to touching to sorrowful. It's great. Definitely watch it if you haven't. And we haven't really spoiled anything just there.
Yeah, not at all. All right. Next.
That was pretty good, huh? Sex Education. Also, the series finale after 4 years on Netflix. The children, I guess, actually, they didn't even show graduation, right? It was just like 4 years of high school, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're done.
Just of like their relationships. Yeah. I mean, I think originally watching this, we were a little jarred by this new school that they had to go to. But funny story, I was listening to an interview on the Vanity Fair podcast with one of the producers of Sex Education. And they said where they filmed, the school that they filmed at was actually like demolished. So they couldn't film another season there.
Oh, so when they went back to the site for that one time, that was like actually they knocked down that building.
I think so. Yes.
Well,
so they knocked
fun.
it down. So they like had to write in another school or another thing for the season. And it had been something that had been looming over them for like all 4 seasons. And they were like, okay, well, it seems like it's gonna happen. So we have to figure this out. So it's like kind of a nice little wrinkle. I don't know. I mean, I think they did a good job. They definitely had a lot to say this season. And I don't know. Ultimately, I really liked it. I feel like this was the right story, like the right show to do it, to be honest. Like, representation does matter. And it was really great to see all these different type of stories in this show. There aren't enough of these kinds of shows on TV willing to take these big swings. To me, it felt very authentic. A lot of the people they cast were transgender, gay, deaf, and like, handicapped, like, which I think is great. I mean, I wish that they had this type of show when we were younger. Like, I feel like people wouldn't have felt so alone. I mean, they really take like the shame out of sex and try to like normalize these things that like people, I don't know, don't really understand, I would say, about themselves. And I feel like it still does that by like, and it's still funny. You know what I mean? Like, it never like makes fun of these situations, but it's definitely like really funny. Like, what's her face? The blonde girl you love.
Amy.
Yeah, I thought she was so great. And like she had like a notebook and like, I forget, like it said like my wellness journey on it. I don't know. I just thought it was so good. Like, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to criticize a show when it's doing and saying all the right things. right?
Yeah, I feel like your criticism is that it's too nice.
Well, no, not necessarily. I think it got a little too broad. Okay, so beyond all for showing all the transgender people ever, all inclusive, everything. Let's say they added like 6 or 7 new characters this season just to show more and more inclusivity, which is good. I'm fine with that. But as a show, not as a political statement and not as like a celebration of all of these different people, it got like pretty convoluted. Like there was so much going on that it kind of dumbed down the people that we actually really care about. And then I think most of it was still totally fine. I think how they ended it with Cal being like a very important piece of kind of them all coming back together, because there was infighting and, normal teen drama stuff. And their struggle with their transgender life and being accepted, I feel like would have had a much bigger impact if there wasn't 5 other transgender people living their best life in the next scene. Like it opening up that much. And I get like, it's nice that Cal had the support system of others like them, but as a show, just like as a dramatic thing to show near a finale of an entire series, I felt like their kind of meltdown and the community coming back around on them. And even Eric's like acceptance within the church and stuff, like all of the new characters kind of took away from what could have been like a final revelation for these characters that we've known and loved. Yeah, not that it was bad, but it was like just a little bit too much.
I think like the last episode really did focus on our 4 main characters and kind of resolving whatever they had going on in their lives. And I don't know, I think it made sense. Like, I think Cal's storyline helped Eric realize, like, I can help you. And like, this is how, and like really helped Eric step into his own. I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, still really good.
Yeah, well, I hope that this is like a show that endures and like people find it later on. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a really important show to have.
Yeah, I think so too. It's also on Netflix, so literally everybody can see it. The one thing, just one last thing, they even kind of understood that they were doing and saying too much and adding too many characters, because they made a in-joke about it when the guy in the wheelchair complains about the lift being broken, and then another person who's in a wheelchair says something, and everybody goes, "Who is that?" And they're like, "Oh, that I don't think that person even goes here." Well, no,
that was a Mean Girls joke. You don't even go here.
Well, I mean, kind of. No, it was more like, who is this person? Oh, yeah, I'm just talking up. I'm just like speaking up. Like, it was funny.
Yeah. No, I thought that was great, actually.
Yeah, another great show. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's delightful. 4 seasons on Netflix. Next, Only Murders in the Building, season 3, the season finale.
I was wrong.
Irma was so wrong, and I was like pretty. I fell for it. I thought you were right for a long time.
Damn it!
And then it got like less and less. So our working theory from or my working theory from watching way too many of these, and especially A Haunting in Venice, but maybe it's because A Haunting in Venice was bad. Is like they're going to introduce a character early on. They're going to be like, oh, this person's interesting. And then you're going to realize you haven't heard from that character for a while. And that's the killer. And so like, that's what happened in A Haunting in Venice. And that was happening to the person that Irma said was in it. But then it got it got to the point where he was so irrelevant that it would have felt really silly. But I guess they could have brought him back in for the reason that you said. And it would have been another blow to Mabel. Well, who couldn't handle another blow? We can't keep trashing on Mabel here. She needs the love. And we're there for it. We're here for you, Selena.
Yeah, I thought this was really fun. I wonder, it got renewed for a 4th season.
Yep.
So I wonder what they're going to do.
Wait, they showed it.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
You already forgot. They showed it. They were ready to get renewed, and they got renewed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we won't spoil it.
Yeah, I thought this was fun. It is what it is. I don't think we have to go too deep into it. I think it's just a funny show. I enjoy just being with the three of them and whoever else they bring in. Like Meryl Streep was great. Paul Rudd was great. I don't know. It was great.
Yeah. Some of these episodes this season were like hysterically funny. I can't remember if I was laughing this much in the first 2 seasons when I feel like the murder was more important. This one, I don't like the murder wasn't that. I don't know. I guess it was.
Yeah.
But it just felt like a little bit lesser than.
Podcast thing wasn't really a huge thing in this one.
Yes. Well, because they had to make time for Martin Short's musical, which was delightful.
Oh, so good.
And Martin Short is just so damn funny.
So funny.
So, yeah.
Yeah, when he played the lead role at the end.
Yeah. The guy. We're looking forward to season 4. It's always just fun. Mm-hmm. It's a good time. I've got 2 more. So watching all these Saw movies and everything going on, I've fallen off on my television that I watch without Irma, but I'm trying to do a mad dash to catch back up. So this week I finally finished Winning Time, which was the season end series finale that got announced. And I got to say, happy to see it go. That was not a good show. I was saying it for a while. I watched the first season. I enjoyed it. But then when it came back, I was just like, I don't feel like watching this. Yeah, it felt like it was really confused about the story it wanted to tell. It would have worked much better as like the Michael Jordan style documentary, which they kind of did with Magic Johnson. Although that would have been too biased. Like it was nice that they showed the flaws in all of these people, but for a show that's called Winning Time, the rise and fall, whatever, of the Lakers dynasty, they really only showed the bad moments. Like everything, they would like blow past the two championships that they won, and the whole series was just about like Magic being a bad teammate, one of the best basketball players of all time. If you watched this show, you would have absolutely no idea how good he was, which is crazy. Like you have to show that. And all they did was harp on his mistakes and them losing. That was it. The show ended with them losing to the Celtics.
Well, did they show a lot of basketball or was it mostly like office?
They showed a decent amount, but I mean, it's all fake. So like, that's not you got to tell us how good
I guess
is.
like for some reason I thought it was like more of like the like office and owner relationships. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they did a lot of the games. They did a lot of like this was game 6 and Magic Johnson messed up again.
Oh,
it's like they really just showed that and like him fighting with Kareem. And it's like, this is all true. So we know what's real and we know what happened. And like, we know where these people went after all of this. And you would just think that they all kind of sucked and they were all really good. And so it was odd. It was an odd display of the show. They tried to dramatize this all and it didn't need to be dramatized. I wouldn't watch it if you haven't watched it. On the other hand, Harley Quinn's 4th season, the cartoon show that is now on Max, is just excellent. I think it's the 4th season. Anyway, fact check me. This season, Harley gets involved with the Bat family and actually kind of becomes a hero. It's just like they really twist every stereotype and everything we've seen about Batman over and over and over. They find a new way to show these people in really interesting ways, and all your favorite characters are on it, except really like Batman is barely in it, which is nice. But it's just really clever. It's really funny. And again, very inclusive. Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are a beautiful lesbian power couple, and they're in charge of a whole city, and it's great. And then they ended this. Well, I won't tell you, but they ended this season with like a great hint towards next season being another kind of expansion on stories that we know and would love to see, and like a more just lady girl power. And it's really funny. You should definitely watch that one.
Well, that's 4 seasons though. That's
a lot.
Yeah,
but they're short, kind of. You can I don't know. I watched it all in the last, calendar year, I think.
Yeah, well, you're crazy.
Caught up with it. All right, we are blowing through these. Irma, we're doing a great job. Tell all the people.
Yeah, you got rid of all my markers. I don't like that.
What do you mean your markers?
My sections.
No, I didn't. They're scroll to the left.
Oh, right.
All right. Next section. Irma delightfully made these sections. That was the season and series finale section. Now this is the Disney Plus section, which also includes a season finale.
Okay. Okay, well.
So obviously we've been talking Ahsoka. The season finale was last week. Irma, what did you think?
Overall, like, I think I enjoy this world for some reason. I like high fantasy and sci-fi. Like, I do genuinely like enjoy watching it. Overall, I think this season was like very slow, and like, I know you possibly fell asleep a couple times, or you were just bored.
Exact tired time hits sometimes.
And I agree with that assessment, but like, and then the season finale, they like rushed it felt like, and like they had a lot to do, and they didn't even show two main characters, Shin and Balin, who I love, and it's kind of sucks because like Ray Stevenson, who plays Balin, has since passed away, so either they're going to have to recast him, or I'm not sure if they have a second season for this, because like his storyline was like what I cared about, and I was really, I don't know, I felt like Thrawn was so unnecessary in this show, to be honest. I didn't watch Rebels, so I don't really have a history with him, but like I just think they should have had Shin and Balin be the big bads of this show, and just have like Thrawn lingering or something. You know what I mean? Like the threat of Thrawn still there. I don't know.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think this show was confused at what it wanted to be. Again, another one just like that. Was it a good story for people, for an audience that didn't know existing characters and just wanted an excellent Star Wars story, which would have been the Ahsoka versus Balin and Shin, with her sidekicks could still be in it. Like Mary Elizabeth Winstead could still be in it. The new robot was excellent. I forget his name.
David Tennant.
Yeah.
My fave.
Do you remember the character though? Whatever.
Hu Yang.
Oh yeah. Or is it going to be like a continuation of Rebels with Thrawn and Ezra, which they also did? So they basically took two shows, mushed them together, and then I don't think either of them really worked.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so like Thrawn, I don't know. Thrawn just did not do it. I don't know. I don't like blaming the actors or the direction or like the people making the art. I don't know. But he was just like so lame.
Yeah.
As was Ezra. Like nice eyes, but man, like
the whole Ezra of
emote
it all.
A little, but man.
Well, I don't even think it was him. I think it was like no one cared about him.
Right.
It's like Sabine, like when you find this guy that you essentially destroy the galaxy for, you hug him. You don't just like stand there like, oh yeah, hi, nice to see you.
Yeah, so on that note.
It's so bizarre. And at the end too, with what's her face? Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Same thing. They just stood there.
See, that one I disagree with, because when they interacted, I took a note saying free Mary Elizabeth from the show, because her tiny interaction with her, just the way that she looked at him and her eyes, like you could see something.
That's true.
And like she nailed that, and she is great. And then the rest of them were like flat as fudge. All the acting was so flat.
It was very flat.
Except for her.
I agree with that. Actually, you're right. Because like she had a lot to do there. And the fact that like.
It was one look. And she nailed it.
Yeah, it was. You're right. Because like she knew what just seeing him meant. Anyway, but we won't need to get into the rest of it. But
no, I had a few more comments.
Oh, okay.
And this one I like actually took some notes down. So again, on the same wavelength of Thrawn, Balin, Shin, too many villains. They also had the witches. Now that lady is a full witch. There's 3 other witches.
But she's dead.
Right, but okay, so that lady we've been watching got turned into a witch, got killed, but it didn't really matter because there were 3 other better witches.
Yeah.
That then when I went, oh no, we're not doing this. Zombie stormtroopers.
Oh, the zombies.
Stormtroopers. I was like, no, we cannot be doing this in Star Wars. This is like Lord of the Rings, fine. Game of Thrones, all right, we've established all of that.
I know.
You're just going to be raising people from the dead after 50 years of Star Wars stories. Nah, that ain't it. I'm sorry. That like really took me out of it. But That's it.
I forgot about the zombies.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Get your zombies out of my space epic.
I don't know. Balin was so underutilized in this last episode. It was so disappointing.
I think they really should have simplified a story with Balin, Shin, Ahsoka, and Anakin. And like her grappling.
And I didn't even mind that one witch who also died, who essentially...
Sure.
Because she was actually quite good, I thought. As like the heavy. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they probably already did a lot of that in Rebels. But like Ahsoka grappling with her master being the worst person to ever walk the universe. Like we barely touched that. Like she said it a few times, but like you got it. That's the show. Right?
I agree.
And
I agree. That's the show.
They did so many other things.
Yeah. And then her turning into Ahsoka the White, like she didn't change.
Yeah, she died, but nothing happened.
I don't know. It's just like it wasn't meaningful.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we just don't care about story. Yeah, we don't get it. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, the Star Wars superfans, I think, love like really anything that expands the story. And we kind of look at it as we are definitely fans. We've watched all of this crap except for a bunch of the cartoons. But like, I need something without it just being like, yes, this is more Star Wars.
I just need growth, character growth. Yeah. And there just wasn't any.
Next. We had a series premiere, season 2, probably the most hotly anticipated Disney vehicle in a while. Actually, I'm going to say this is bigger than any of the movies that have come out recently, just because people loved Loki season 1. And could they do it again? Loki season 2, we're only one episode in, so it's really hard to judge anything. But Irma, what did you think of the premiere?
I had a lot of fun, honestly, watching this episode. I love Tom Hiddleston, Owen Wilson, and then they brought in Kiwi Kwan, which I don't think they could have brought in a better actor to do what he was asked to do. He's essentially like has to explain to them some mechanics or whatever, and that's essentially what he did in
Everything Everywhere.
Yeah,
dude is stuck in the multiverse.
I know, it's true. He's playing like the same thing, but whatever. I think he did a really great job. He was so funny. That one scene of him like remembering in real time. I don't know. I thought it was fun. Yeah,
that scene was super clever and really funny. And then I think that was kind of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is also extremely confusing, the whole premise of it. And I think like they intentionally try and make it confusing so you don't overthink it. But yeah, I mean, the stakes are so high. So it'll be interesting to see like how they get out of it, solve it, go from here. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you really think about it. So we watched a few catch-up videos before because I couldn't totally remember everything that happened in season 1, but I wasn't going to watch the whole thing again. And one of them went like really deep into like time travel theory. And then another one kind of just told us the story of Loki. So they're walking this weird tightrope of like, how detailed do we get with time travel theory and multiversal theory versus just kind of being like, this lady killed Kang and somehow that made more Kangs more powerful. And that's really all you have to know.
Yeah.
Like another Loki who Loki loves killed one Kang. And in doing that, it made Kang the conqueror, I guess, the head of like the master of the multiverse. And that's a problem for some reason. And kind of like if you dumb it down like that, that's fine. Good enough.
Yeah.
It's like if you really start to think about it is when it gets like, oh, geez. If you start to go, why is when it goes, oh, no, this is too confusing.
Yeah.
The one thing that does bother me about shows sometimes is like introducing a problem. So Loki is what do they call it? Time slipping.
Yeah.
Which like the graphic of it all and like the idea of it was really funny and really effective. And like,
Owen Wilson's like reaction to it was hilarious. Yeah.
And also like people not knowing him, them knowing him and not knowing him was great. But then like the fixing it, like introduce a problem, find out how to fix it, next episode, it's over. Felt like, well then like what are we doing here? And I thought like the set piece of him going out into the space and him having to do this.
I thought that was like too complicated and unnecessary.
Yeah.
Also, like, they have bigger problems than that.
Yeah, well,
So,
I guess
like,
step one was have Loki stop jumping through time, which is fine, but like, I don't know. Get on with it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I know. Well, also, like, the guy who made the first season, or who was like behind the first season, is not involved in this second season.
Uh-oh.
So it's one of I think the writers took over. I think who was in the writer's room for the first season took over. So yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, I don't think we need to talk about this again until maybe the end, the finale.
Yeah, we'll do maybe a mid-season catch-up if it starts to get really goof. But I'm not going to let... maybe it'll be good. I mean, the actors and everything is good.
Yeah.
But I
agree.
don't know. Maybe Disney Plus is just middle C's.
I mean, you've been saying that for a long
across
time.
the board,
yeah.
I know, but we keep up with all of it. Just because it's something. It's cool that there's all of this stuff that's all connected.
Yeah, I
just
agree.
wish it was all better.
But it's also like, it was what, a half hour?
I think this one was a little longer.
Oh, well, whatever.
Next, another new show in a universe that we all know and kind of love. Gen V premiered on Amazon. There's now 4 friggin' episodes. So now that we've talked about Loki and being like, that episode was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm also like, why does Amazon and Hulu and everything have to release 3 episodes to start? Just give me 1.
Yeah.
And then let me have it. These 3 episodes were both were all really good though. And like maybe with just because I think the first one was also really good. But Gen V is just as good as the boys, I think, so far.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm mixed on it.
Ooh, mixed.
I know.
Why?
Well, here, you go.
Well, I was just going to say, so my only critique is that maybe it's too similar to the boys, where it's like we have these heroes, the children, and then another group of people. It's basically the organization, Vought, in like a certain way. Vaught's connected to the school, and something nefarious is going down, and we can't really trust anyone or anything. That's like basically the exact same show.
Yeah, I agree.
Except that this is with college age people, so they work in a lot more, like, let's say, quote unquote, coming of age, self-discovery.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little more of that, where they snuck that in with Starlight to the boys, but for the most part, everybody knew who they were in the boys, and it's more just like good versus good kind of versus evil. And this is like, at least we're getting, like the girl that gets small, she's dealing with her own shit.
Yeah,
the
well,
transgender person, like, we're getting, it's
Right.
almost like a mush of like your classic boarding school teen drama with, they're all super powered. We're turning tiny and jerking off giant cocks. Like, there's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
There's this crazy overpowered guy who's been wronged. Like, I feel like I'm in. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I think the reason why I'm mixed is just like, so the 2 main characters, the one I think that the show focuses a lot, like including the boys, on the shock value. And so like the main character, she essentially has to cut herself in order for her powers to work. And her roommate essentially needs to throw up and binge in order for her powers to show up. And like, yeah,
teen tropes turned into superpowers, kind of cool.
Yeah, I find it a little hard to watch.
Well, sure.
I think it's like a very sensitive subject matter, and like the fact that they're just, I don't know, just making it like as essentially like a positive thing. I mean, maybe not for the girl who binges, but like just using it as like, oh, look, like this is our superpower, and here, like, and the whole like throwing blood everywhere, like it just,
it's brutal.
It's disgusting. And I don't know, like, I understand this is supposed to be like a realistic superhero, but like, no one would want this. Sorry.
She didn't ask for it.
Yeah, I know, but it's just kind of like,
killed her whole family because of it.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. That's just like what I'm not loving. And then,
hold on that note, just one thought that I forgot. I thought her opening scene was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. It
like,
was so brutal.
It played on a classic teen drama trope of a girl getting your period for the first time. We've all seen, I mean, obviously I'm not talking from experience or anything, so correct me if I'm wrong, but like, we've seen a bunch that it can be traumatic. It's surprising. You hope you have a support system in place to walk you through a very natural process. And we've seen that like 1,000 times. And this took it to another level and just made it horrific and so traumatic for this little girl that I thought it was like really cool. A classic life moment shown so many times in a brand new way is so hard to do. Mm-hmm. And they did it, nailed it.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were you going to say?
So the whole conspiracy at the center of the show, I won't say what it is, but don't they do this in New Mutants? The one with Anya Taylor-Joy?
Yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, they're all similar.
Yeah. I just feel like it's been done before. That's all I'm saying. And so I'm just kind of
it's
like...
it's every X-Men story ever.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know.
But yeah.
I just like, I
mean, they even did it in The Boys with the
like
Asian
they've done
girl
this
that
before.
was like too powerful.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's what they do. There needs to be, there's always going to be someone that's too powerful and a people in place that are trying to stop that. I don't know. I thought that kid is good though. He's good at,
I agree.
Being the distraught guy.
And I also kind of like in this show that they like taking from The Boys, like learning like in real time, essentially like that, like, oh, it's your parents who gave you this. And like everyone just knows that now. So I like that they like, it's essentially a continuation of The Boys.
Yeah, they're fully addressing it, which is cool. And I'm excited to see where The Boys goes with it. New section alert. Irma's new section, reality television. We had a lot of reality television coming back in the past 2 weeks. So I have a comment that Irma can go off for a little bit. Let's do Survivor first.
Yeah.
So Survivor comes back for season 45.
Hot take coming in hot from Zach.
Well, yeah.
Coming in blazing from Zach.
So I took a note saying, is this the worst premiere of the Survivors I've seen? So I've seen like 6 or 7 seasons at this point.
Yeah.
And they also have been advertising over and over again that they made every episode this season is 90 minutes long. Maybe not necessary, but that hasn't been a huge problem. There's enough. But the premiere, like, it was entertaining.
It was just anticlimactic.
Yeah, and like I feel like you don't watch Survivor to watch like 2 or 3 losers just like commiserating about being shitty. And I mean, I don't want to attack these people. They seem like fine people, but for Survivor contestants, they were just bad from the jump. And like, you don't want, I can't imagine that Jeff is being like, yes, I want our audience to be literally laughing at us because of how bad these people are.
To me, like, this makes it feel so realistic and honestly puts it into perspective. Like, was Franny last season? So she came in saying like, oh, I'm going to be really bad at this. And then she soared and did so well. She was like winning all these challenges. Well, this is kind of like the other side of that, where it's like, not everyone can do this. And like, it actually is really hard. And like, yeah, you can get off your couch and act like, oh, I can do that. And then like, this is like us seeing it like, no, you can't. Not everyone can. And I feel like it makes it feel more legitimate in a way. Like, Survivor's hard.
Oh, hot. Oh, conspiracy theory alert. Beep, 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 beep. Hannah was a plant so that they could stop getting these bullshit people to audition for the show. Be like, I've watched this show for 20 years from my couch and I do no physical labor or any workout. I'm going to be on. And they're like, no, stop sending us this shit. That's my new conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
You're going to quit. You're going to quit because you suck.
Well, I wonder what the casting people saw in her to make her like, to make them think that like she was a good contestant to be on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was entertaining. I mean, I guess, but like, yeah, I think like I see that and I'm like, I don't think I could do it.
No.
I mean, maybe I could. I don't know.
You could last for a few days without, the physical
honestly,
part of it.
I think it's the social thing that gives me the most anxiety.
Yeah, easily. Just having to constantly be on and thinking about lying, not lying, who you're allied with. My only takeaway is if you get an immunity idol, tell nobody.
Yeah.
Find a different way to curry favor. Like, they're always like, oh, if I tell them this person's in my pocket forever. No, they're not. Never. They'll pretend that and then they just know. Mm-hmm. So curry favor in a different way. Tell them some other information. They don't give a shit. They don't know. What they don't know, they don't know. People are stupid. But I guess they're also on an island alone for so many hours. Like,
yeah,
God.
desperate to make friends.
Yeah, and like it's just constant gameplay. It would drive me nuts. Like, I need to take a nap. And then Brandon
but then people would call you lazy.
I know. Episode 2, Brandon just shows again that he sucked. He could do nothing.
Oh my God.
He thought he was good at puzzles. Again, super fan. We love you, Brandon. You seem like a good guy, but just not a good survivor contestant.
So bad.
So maybe now going forward, they got rid of like the really low hanging fruit. And I actually find Emily is her name.
Yeah, Emily.
She's like kind of compelling because
she redeemed herself for sure.
There's something up with her, but like it seemed like maybe she was learning, but then it seemed like she was definitely not. So at least she's like
go far
interesting.
though. Yeah, we'll see. All right. Next show we're going to talk about is The Golden Bachelor. Zach, how much did you like the first episode of The Golden Bachelor?
I did watch the first episode as I said I would in the October Excitometer.
So no, when I started watching it, you originally were like, no, you just watch it. I don't need to watch this. I put it on, and then within the first minute, you were sucked in, and you're like, shut this off. I need to watch this later.
Yeah, well, I hadn't watched any of the promotional stuff and like all the sizzle reels that they had where he told his story. So like that was probably the third or fourth time you've seen that kind of. This was the longest of it. But for like the first 10 minutes, he's kind of just talking about himself, his family, his wife that died. And he was crying. And I was like, this is good. I am tearing up.
Yeah.
Let's see where this goes, because he seems like an interesting person. And I'm interested in what happens here. And then they got to the house and the limo started coming in. It was like all the same kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
But I watched it. The first episode.
I mean, Gary is very nice. He's like so wholesome. And like so there's been 2 episodes now. During both rose ceremonies, he's cried. He's felt really bad about having to send women home. And like,
it does feel like maybe even a little bit harder for the 60 to 70-year-olds, because like at least if you're sending like a beautiful 23-year-old girl who's just like, you're a little annoying or we're not vibing. It's not like she's like, this is my last chance at love. Yeah. It's like, no, you're going to be fine. But like with some of these women, they're like putting themselves out there again after long periods of, being alone. And it is like, it's more devastating, I found.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I mean, I felt for these women. I've really like connected with a lot of them. There's no one that I genuinely don't like on the normal Bachelor. Like there's people who rub me the wrong way, whatever. But like here, like I genuinely want Gary to find someone, and I think he will. I mean, he's a great guy. I really enjoy all of these women. I'm going to keep watching. From previews from the rest of the season, it looks like it gets pretty brutal.
It gets dramatic.
I know, which like is kind of heartbreaking because I don't want anyone to get hurt, but obviously that's kind of part of the show. So it's, I don't know. We'll see how the rest of it goes.
It does feel like it's going to be a bit more torturous than The Bachelor normally is.
Yeah.
Like it'd be like, normally you'd be like, I don't really like this girl. I don't care if she goes home.
Yeah.
But again, it's like the same thing. Like all these women are just, fairly level-headed and like just looking for a nice way to spend the next 20 years, let's say. Yeah. And like, nope, sorry. It's brutal.
Yeah, it is pretty brutal. Okay. Moving on to the next sweet show, I guess I should say. Great British Bakeoff. You are not watching the season with me.
I bailed on it. Last season I said I don't think I need to watch this anymore.
Yeah, I'll be fully honest. The show's kind of boring.
Yeah.
I'm a bit over it myself. I mean, in general, I do enjoy the show and I love reality competition, but like when you're watching Survivor and Great British Bake Off in the same week, it just feels so silly. But in general, like I do really like it. They have a new host. What's his face? The guy, Matt was replaced. But the other guy, Noel is still there. And I'm sorry, I don't know the new host's name. It's a woman, and she seems really great and funny. And yeah, so I'm going to keep watching it. I doubt I'll mention it again, but just know it's on. Yeah, it's on Netflix. Yeah, if you feel like watching it. I mean, it's a good fall show. Like, I understand why it's on right now because like, it's fall, you want to bake and whatever.
Yeah, maybe it should be more, but they should have pushed it another few months when it's really cold and you're just stuck inside.
I think it's probably a good like December show, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep watching it. So, and then there's another thing I wanted to shout out. So we've been watching Welcome to Wrexham on Hulu, which is about oh my God, why am
the Wrexham Football Club.
Yes.
Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney.
Yeah, so they bought like a football club in Wales and just showing the behind the scenes of that. And like this past week, they had an episode showing like the female club, right? And like how well they're doing. And so we actually both know like how I'm not going to say like we know what happens just because it's in the news. But so yeah, we've been watching that. It's a really great show. And then also on Netflix, the Beckham mini docuseries came on. And so I was watching that and it just felt like a really good companion piece. I thought the Beckham 4-part documentary was amazing.
You finished it?
Oh, I finished it. Yeah, it was so good. It really was like, it was about like the rise of David Beckham's career, like, and then his wobbles in between and then like, yeah, where he is now. And I had no idea his story. Like I always like heard of him and like knew he was around, but I had no idea how good he was. Yeah. And like him and Victoria met when they were like 22 and they like have stayed together all this time, which is kind of amazing. Yeah, honestly, it was like really good. And it made me like angry at parts. People were like, because I guess he messed up in the World Cup and people were like sending him death threats and all this stuff. And like it got brutal. And like in like England or like the tabloids they're just awful. Yeah. Awful. And just like so with like the whole Wrexham of it all and like everything that they're going through with their fans. And so, yeah, it's just like this means so much to people. And it kind of makes me wish we had that here, you know, with like soccer or football, you know.
We do. Do you remember how sad I was when Aaron Rodgers snapped his Achilles?
True. But he's not getting death threats.
Probably did. No, not him, because that wasn't his fault. But yeah, like people, different fan bases can get really brutal.
Okay, so in the Beckham thing, someone hung up a dummy like with David Beckham's jersey on with a noose.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah, well, I think the European soccer, it's really like the biggest sport by far.
Yeah.
For all the Europeans. America, we have like, you're probably at least 2 or 3 sports that it just happens next. So like when one season ends, you can be really biffed, but then you can like the next one's coming. So none of them are quite as important. But I think there's some of that stuff.
Yeah, maybe. But also it's like the tabloids. I mean, maybe that culture just in the UK is not as bad as it was. But even just like with the whole Meghan Markle, like you hear about it. Yeah, the UK press is brutal, it sounds like. But I don't know. I just thought it was really good. I wanted to shout it out because I enjoyed it. Now. Yeah, I guess I am.
Apparently, our favorite team that I have stopped watching, Tottenham Hotspur, is doing quite well the start of this season.
Yeah, should we get kits?
No, full kit wankers? No, thank you. I got too many sports. There's too much going on. That's it for television. How fast do we do that? Medium fast. We got some movies that we're going to be even faster with these movies. We watched, again, from our October Excitometer, the Wes Anderson made 4 short films for Netflix based on Roald Dahl short stories. Irma, what did you think of these short films?
So I thought like it was obviously so Wes Anderson. Like it looked beautiful. It really was very cool. And I think I liked the oh my God, how do you say his name?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, I liked his 2 that he was in. I thought he did a really great job. And I also really liked the Dev Patel one too, which like I think he plays a doctor. But overall, like this wasn't like acted, if that makes sense. Like they just felt like kind of glorified audiobooks. Like they just kind of read the dialogue and like stood there or walked. Like I thought like the theatrical nature of it, like the moving sets and stuff was very cool, like very well done. But in general, like I don't think I needed to watch this, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's been the big criticism from it is like, do you accept that the whole thing is just live narrated? And,
really? I have not. Okay, so full disclosure, I did not look up anything about this.
Yeah, I only heard kind of one or two things about it, and the woman talking about it was like, "Are you okay with just the narration?" And I do agree with you. Like at first, so the first, let's say 15 minutes of the Henry Sugar one, which is the one that they're mostly advertising, and the one we watched first, I was delighted because I thought like the way that they were moving in and out of the room with Ray Fiennes and the different set pieces and moving all that stuff,
I mean,
quote unquote live, was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
And then once it got to just a guy, like I imagine that Wes Anderson didn't change the script at all. I think they basically just read the short stories. And one part about audiobooks is like, you're probably doing something else, or you know, even if you're looking at the stars, just listening to an audiobook, you're doing that while letting your mind imagine things for you. And when you're watching a movie, they don't say absolutely everything. Like the things that are left unsaid are shown by acting. This was just both mushed together. So I didn't get to imagine what I want to imagine, but then like they never stopped talking.
Yeah, it was so fast.
And I think after like 20 minutes, it started to fall really flat.
Yeah.
And the only times that I felt good, it was when Ray Fiennes or Ben Kingsley were doing it, because they weren't just doing Wes Anderson. You're gonna be mad. I thought Dev Patel was bad. He did such Wes Anderson. He was talking so fast.
He was talking so fast.
He wasn't acting like he just. Like, you can still act and be in a Wes Anderson movie.
Well, I thought the Benedict Cumberbatch, the one when he was in a bed, I thought he did so well.
That one was that one was the least Wes Anderson-y.
Yeah, I guess.
But then every time they flash to Ray Fiennes, like he takes a moment to breathe and he's like talking. And
I agree with that. It
doesn't sound like you're just like you memorized a really long monologue and you're blasting through it as fast as possible.
I mean, maybe that's what Wes Anderson told him to do, is like just try and talk as fast as you can.
I don't think, now that Wes Anderson has made so much stuff and is so specific, and I do really like his aesthetic, I found that every time there's a new person doing it, it's like not Schwartzman, not the people that have been working with him a while, they go too far. And like they totally lose themselves in just like being that Wes Anderson character, and it just falls apart.
Yeah, I agree.
And also, like, these stories, I can imagine reading them, but being like, that was interesting. But as like story, like they weren't, the Henry Sugar one was good, but like the Ratcatcher one was.
Oh, I didn't like that one at all.
That was definitely just like Roald Dahl got a little saucy one night and wrote like a weird story about a guy that's kind of a rat.
Yeah, I didn't like that one at all.
And you read that before bed as a collection of other shorts, and you don't think about it so much. But for some reason, turning it into a film elevates the like importance of it.
Yeah.
And it was like, nah, this is just like cool acting, like cool idea, but there was really nothing there. And again, no imagination, because they were just showing it to us.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind was it the Swan one? What was that called? Swan?
Yeah, the Swan one was, I thought, really, that's definitely the best story. Like if you read that and you could read at your own pace and feel the tension, but then like the tension was like so dumbed down by the Wes Anderson of it all.
Well, because they didn't have the two kids.
Yeah. But even, yeah.
Because it was just Rupert Friend doing all of the parts, essentially, which was like weird.
Yeah, I
know.
agree. Yeah, it's just like it's a really interesting bully story.
Yeah.
And it's just like so goofballed up.
Yeah.
Even though I liked him going in and out of the voices.
Yeah, no, I did too. I thought he did a good job.
Yeah. So Wes Anderson, again, the aesthetics are like always there and it's always clever. But sometimes the way that stories are developed within his world falls flat.
Yeah.
And this was like a big example of that. Whereas I think Asteroid City worked much better.
Yeah, I think the Curious Life of Henry Sugar, or whatever it's called, is going to be the one getting the big Oscar push. So I guess we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. 2 horror movies that big old Zach watched, Hoffman's Horror Hangout.
Well, should we do that last and talk about...
we'll do that last so people can just not listen to it. We'll go to the movie we watched Saturday night, which we'd heard a bunch about. It's on currently. It was in theaters, but now it is on Hulu. So it's from 2022. It's called How to Blow Up a Pipeline. and it was really good.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed this a lot.
Just a tense hour, 40 minutes of people pulling off a plan or, building a plan and following through with it in whatever way they can. And just you get a little backstory, but nothing crazy. It's kind of just like forward momentum the whole time. It was really effective. I wanted to go cause chaos after it and listen to Rage Against the Machine. And I highly recommend. I don't want to really. It was
kind of like a little
anything.
like Ocean 11-esque with like finding all these people, putting the pieces together, pulling off like whatever they, the bombing essentially.
Except with a much angrier and indie vibe.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I'm just saying, like, it's like that same sort of construction in a way. And I really liked it. Yeah, I thought it was really smart. Very well done.
Yeah, on Hulu. Watch it tonight. And now finally, Hoffman's Horror Hangout with Saw 10 and The Exorcist Believer. If you haven't been watching, I've been talking about all the Saws on TikTok and Instagram. So I've watched 10 Saws, I think, in the last 2 weeks-ish. So that definitely affected how I watched this movie. I think I've become like a little bit numb to the traps. So I'm just seeing both of these movies. I went in knowing nothing from the audience, which is hard to do. And since I've made my own declarations on them, have seen that mostly the public is totally opposite. Where I thought Saw 10 was not good. And people are kind of really celebrating it as this emotional breakdown of John Kramer and like a much deeper telling of a Saw movie. And I found it just like a really on the nose, boring retelling of like a character that's interesting because he forces us, the audience, to live in this moral gray area. And like, that's why they've made 9 movies about this. There's like something that's like, is he good or is he bad? He's somewhere in the middle and we can't quite grasp it. And in this movie, he is just straight up the white hat, sympathetic, overtly wronged hero. To the point where like the last scene, I won't ruin it, but the last scene, like I like literally got up and was like, oh no, and left. And it turns out there is a mid-credit scene that I just didn't see because I was so flustered by how they ended it that I was just like, nope, we're gone. And I didn't understand.
But you just left?
Well, no, I mean, that was the end. But like normally maybe you'd linger, like, is there a scene? There is a mid-credit scene. And I was just like, I got to get out of here and go home because it was just like, come on, this is not so, like, this guy's a murderer. No way. Like, yeah, you could be like, whoa, these people are bad, but like he's still brutally killing people. But people seem to really like him just being the straight up hero. I disagree. Saw 10, the official review is going to be hitting TikTok and Instagram yesterday for you. And the ranking, then I'm ranking all 10 of them. So please check that out because I'm hoping that people really start commenting on that because I think a few of my takes might be kind of controversial based on what I've seen. And next, The Exorcist Believer. I came out of it kind of liking it, and now I'm seeing the reviews are pretty bad, although I haven't actually looked at any of them. So this is just a dumb tomato score that I'm basing it on. Saw, I actually did listen to some people talk about it. The Exorcist, I have not, but I think it has like a 22 on Rotten Tomato, which is pretty bad. And I thought it was kind of good. Nothing like extraordinary, but I thought it was an interesting modern take. It was paced kind of weird, which is what I came home and told Irma. Like it takes too long to develop the families and everything, which I think is okay because we really learn to you need to develop the Leslie Odom Jr. character, his daughter, the other daughter, and then they get lost. And this part I thought was really good. Like kind of your classic HBO drama, The Missing, or like some of the True Detective stuff where it's like, I found myself really concerned for the kids and like through Leslie Odom Jr., just imagining like how scary that would be. Like your daughter's just gone for 3 days. And then when they're back, she is crazy. Like something is definitely wrong. But in your head, you're like, A, you don't know what happened to her. And in your head, you're not like, oh, this is the devil. You know, it's like there's something wrong with my daughter and I don't know how to solve that. And I could put myself in those shoes and be like, that would be a nightmare for me. I'm just saying, like, I like to be in control of things, and being so out of control of someone that you think you know is like terrifying. So that, like, the middle section I thought was really effective. And then they get to the exorcism. And it felt kind of like a bunch of characters that didn't know what they were doing, watching two girls go absolutely apeshit and like not doing that much. And that kind of dragged on for a while. Things definitely happen. And the ending is kind of cool. There are a few things that are cool, but in general, I kind of liked it. And the reviews are just bad. I don't know why. I guess they probably expected way more than I expected. It's like huge Exorcist fans were probably like, this isn't it. But I thought it was kind of similar to the first one. There was a few people clapping and cheering because they do bring a few of the people from the original back and they reference the story. And one guy was like wooing when a few people showed up, which was fun.
Yeah, and I think the idea of like the two girls being possessed is kind of cool.
Yeah, they were freaking crazy. Props to them. I think they're relative unknowns, but they were scary. They did a good job just going absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Even and then the problem, like the trailer kind of ruined some of it of just being like how crazy they looked and were acting. But I think that's it.
Wow. I think we really did blow through all of these.
We blew through how many things did we just talk about? So many in just over an hour.
Pretty good.
Maybe it'll be less than an hour once Craig.
I don't think we're going to have anything left to talk about next week.
Well, I'm going to catch up on a few more of my Zach fell behind shows.
Well, we have to finish The Changeling and The Other Black Girl.
Yeah. I thought, are you going to watch The Other Black Girl? Because I was thinking that you were out and I was just going to maybe finish it myself.
No, we can watch it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a slog.
Yeah.
But I can't leave something hanging like that. Yeah, things start. Well, surprise episode coming next week.
Yeah, even for us.
Who knows what will come up? But I hope you come back because we're so lovely and you love listening to us. That's it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you to Craig for the production assistance, and thank you to John Welsh for our intro and outro music.
Subscribe, please. If you're a new listener, please subscribe so you know every time we post a new episode. Again, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm finishing up seeing every Saw. And boy, it's been more difficult than I thought it was going to be. It turns out, I think based on these reviews, I think I just don't like Saw as much as a lot of these people do, which is weird because I do like it. But I assume the people that really like Saw 10 had not watched 1 through 9 all of the last week or two, because it's tough. They're not spectacular.
It's not brutal enough for you.
Which one?
Saw.
Oh no, it's brutal. It's like so brutal that like it just becomes like, please make cutting off somebody's leg more interesting. but I'm serious. I say that like the review of Saw 10 is like a lot of them was like at least clever. Like the person had to cut off their leg to save someone else or because of XYZ. And this one was just like, cut off your leg or I'm going to cut off your head. It's like, okay, like this is what like that's so stupid.
This is your post-credit Saw take.
Yeah, sorry, I went back to it. But if you want, I think it's like a 4-minute breakdown. It's going to be on TikTok. Check me out. Talkin Tent. We're blowing
really
up.
Plugging that TikTok.
Yeah, get on there. It's a lot of work. I'm editing them so beautifully.
And no one's appreciating them.
Yeah, no, people are. It's getting there. It's just like TikTok seems weird. And Instagram doesn't spread your shit around enough. That's it. What did I say?
From our living room to yours.
From our living room to yours. What would you like to watch next? Thank you.